Blue Jays, Rays are underway as well. Top of the second, 0-0. And we'll get to that first because out of all the matchups in this postseason, these two teams are the only ones that faced each other in the regular season. They're both obviously AL East. Tampa's the best team in the AL. And you look at this matchup, and it's been close. Head to head, Tampa had it 6-4, but they had 5 contests of 1-run games, 3 decided by 2 runs. So this is a tough team. Toronto is not a joke of a team to play against. The thing is that they have so much young talent. It's right. They make the playoffs, great story, but can they do what they did during the regular season in the playoffs against such a dominant Tampa Bay team? Their starting pitching has been great. Their bullpen's been good, and they hit. I know Austin Meadows, I'm not sure if he's playing. He was hurt. I'm not sure if he's still hurt, but if he's out, that's a big piece. But you look at Toronto, and we saw what they did to the Yankees. I mean, they have pop. You have Bichette, Guerrero, Biggio, 3
Teoscar Hernandez.
But 3 people whose family are Hall of Fame. I mean, it's crazy the talent that they have, that they come from. I just think Tampa Bay is too good of a team pitching wise, and they'll be able to shut them down.
Yeah, I agree. And to echo what you said, Tampa Bay's pitching is the difference, right? They're going to start with Snell. They're going to go to Morton and Glass now. Those are 3 of the best pitchers in baseball all in one staff. Their bullpen's equally as impressive. Their starters have a 3.77 ERA this year. Their relievers a 3.37. And at home, Tampa Bay's ERA is 2.99. So they like pitching at Tropicana Field. And for Toronto, their ERA for their starters is 4.55, and their bullpen's a 4.71, and it's a 4.86 on the road. And we saw they look terrible at Yankee Stadium, but really good in Buffalo. So I think that the fact that they're going on the road, I just don't like this series for the Toronto Blue Jays. I think that Tampa Bay, they snuck into this year being overshadowed by the Yankees, but they were a really good team last year, and they're even better this year. And this is a legitimate World Series contender.
And they're, like I said, pitching is going to be the biggest story of this playoffs because it's only 3 games in the first round. And when you have 3 guys, like you said, Snell, Morton, Glass now, that's confidence. There's not a lot of teams out there that have 3 guys, especially this year, that could go, yeah, I have 3 guys that could shut down everybody. I mean, the Yankees will get to. They have a question mark for who their number 3 pitcher is going to be if it gets to that point. Like I said, it has to get to that point. First, I just don't see Toronto even winning a game, to be completely honest. And I think that Tampa's a better team to win this series. No knock to Toronto. It's a great season. I know it's short, but they had a lot of young guys prove their worth, and it's definitely a good stepping stone for this franchise, especially if, they like the Buffalo air, but they'll be back in Toronto next season, hopefully.
Yep, and I'm going to echo your pick. I'll take Tampa Bay to win in 2 games. And let me just clarify before we get on to games that have already started. Every pick that we're making, we've had before. I have a bracket made on MLB.com if you want to see proof. And I'm just going to say it now before we even get into it. I have the Yankees beating the Dodgers in the World Series. It's what I had before the season started. I'm not going to change it, even though I have 0 confidence in it right now. I'm going to stay with that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Yankees yet because, as Yankee fans, it's kind of tough looking at the series. The way they've come in, if they had kept their winning streak going, they come into the playoffs, I'm so confident they win this series. But the inability to hit good pitching and relying on the home run ball too much really scares me, especially when you're going against a guy like Bieber. Again, losing game 1 is detrimental because you are back against the wall, pressure on. And the Yankees, when there was pressure, they didn't come through. A ton of errors, lackadaisical play.
Yep.
That's tough. Let's go to Oakland, Chicago White Sox. You gave the update right now. Is it still?
It is still. It's 4-1. But there's 2 outs in the inning. So. Yeah. It was a productive job by Marshall coming out of the bullpen so far, but Oakland did get on the board, and Houston actually just took the lead 2-1 in the bottom of the ninth, in the top of the ninth.
Wow. The Astros, this is the most 2020 thing would be the Astros to win this whole thing, but
I really hope not.
So for Oakland, Chicago, again, number 2 seed playing a number 7, and I would have gone with Oakland if Matt Chapman was healthy. And the biggest problem is who's going to play third base and fill that hole. Chapman was not having a great season at all, but in a shortened season, you get into the playoffs. All that matters is what you do now. And Chapman's come up clutch in the past. He creates in that lineup, with Chapman, you have Olsen. He protects them. And with him out of lineup, you just don't have to really pitch to Olsen if you don't want to. They have Semien at the top, who's been great. But Chicago White Sox are a great story. The question was, could Giolito be the ace he needs to be for this franchise? Because is he an ace? Not yet. He's a top pitcher for this team, obviously, clearly. He's their number 1. But when you talk about an ace guy that goes out there where you expect 6, 7+ innings of shutout baseball, he's not the guy you think. But He had a great game today, going 7+ innings. Don't know if he was credited. I guess they got an earned run on that because they scored one. But this Jose Abreu has had a phenomenal season. Phenomenal. And he's one of those players that really had to step up. Question mark, Jimenez didn't play in this one, and Edwin Encarnacion's not in the lineup, a veteran who's swung the bat pretty solid this year. But you look at this team, and it's great for Chicago because the Cubs have slowly become they're not the same team they were when they won. Obviously, and the White Sox are on the rise. They're a fun team to watch. And I really think they could, well, obviously they're most likely going to take game one. I'm not going to jinx anything yet because I've jinxed too many things on Twitter. I've been like, oh yeah, what a game so far. Great defense. Stars good, but goal. It just wasn't good. But I do think Chicago White Sox, I'll give Oakland the benefit of the doubt that this goes to 3 games, but I think Chicago finds a way to get the job done and win this series.
I completely agree. I think Chicago's going to win in 3. I don't like the fact that the A's started a lefty today because Chicago, I believe, is 14-0 against lefties this year, and they're probably going to go to 15-0. But to me, Oakland's going to get that middle game, and I think that at the end it'll be interesting to see. But Chicago's youngsters are going to benefit from no fans being in the stands, and they went into the playoffs cold, but I think a win today definitely brings their confidence back up. And another team that got into the playoff cold is the Houston Astros, who actually are the only American League team to finish below 500 and make the playoffs. They're the 6th seed going to Minnesota to play the Twins, and like we said, they're currently up 2-1. The Twins had the 4th lowest ERA in the baseball with 3.58, or in the American League. And let me tell you something. The Twins, about their offense, but their pitching has been a surprise this year. Kenta Maeda is a Cy Young finalist, and I don't know if I would ever. No, he won't because of Shane Bieber, but he had a great year. And coming over from the Dodgers, right? I mean, you didn't think this much of him, but he was a very solid pitcher. He starts this game. He matches stride for stride with Greinke. So it's interesting to hopefully they beat the Astros because nobody wants the Astros to win. All right, I'm done with that team. Jose Altuve has the RBI, by the way. He has the go-ahead RBI by a walk because he's 3'7". So it would have been a strike down the middle. Everybody else is high for him, so he gets to walk it off. But you know what? I'm sitting here, and I'm like, if this Twins team with this bullpen could just score, like their offense is so great, and then all of a sudden come postseason, they just forget how to play baseball. They've lost. This would be 17 straight losses in the postseason.
That's nauseating.
Not series losses, 17 straight games, which means every time they go there, they get swept. So this was the year. You don't have to play the Yankees. You get to play the Astros, who are depleted below 500, and they're looking at an 0-1 series start right now.
And they have a problem that Donaldson is not on the roster. Didn't play today. Calf issue. It seems to not be a minor thing. This might be a problem. And also Nelson Cruz, their veteran leader, slowed down. He did not have a great end to the year. And you look at it, and this is a game that
RBI double today, though.
He did?
Yep.
No, that's always that. I mean, obviously you want your veterans to step up. Again, it really doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. I mean, we'll talk about the Yankees later with deserving of spots. That's one thing. You have to play well enough to get a spot. But a guy like Cruz, he's DHing. You know what he's going to bring. He's got the power. He's got the prowess in the postseason. But you look at it, and it's Minnesota's. You got to stop the bleeding. All right, this is a game they could have won. They had chances. They didn't get it done. But you talk about Maeda, and when he was on the Dodgers, especially last year, he was not a starter in the playoffs. He came out of the bullpen. I forgot what the stat was, but he came out of the bullpen a ton and played well. But now he goes to Minnesota and gets to be that guy that relies heavily upon in big games. And Barrios had a solid year. The movement on his pitches it's disgusting. I can't imagine myself being in the box. It was not even worth it. But no, I mean, the Twins are the 4th lowest ERA. And it showed in this game. They pitched well. The problem was the offense. And then how big of a loss is Donaldson. And just getting over the hump. I don't want the Astros to win. They're up 4-1 now. Yeah. I already said that. 2 outs in the 9th, 1st and 3rd, 1-2 count.
Well, I mean, it was an error in this inning. Yeah. Brantley just drove in the 2 runs. And it was an error this inning that kept it alive and gave the Astros now a 3-run lead. But we're not going to – I'm picking Minnesota to win this series still. I don't know. Who are you taking?
Before this, I would have taken Minnesota, but now
you can't change.
Minnesota in 3.
Oh, that's cheating. Okay.
Minnesota. Well, no, because the game's happening. We didn't know Donaldson would be out. We didn't know that the Astros could hit without garbage cans, but they really couldn't. They had what you said, like an error, gave them the lead.
Oh, the error kept the inning alive. It should have been done. But the next series in the American League is Cleveland against the Yankees, which we're going to preview in the second hour. So we're not going to dive in. Like I said, I picked the Yankees to win the World Series in the beginning, so obviously I have to pick them to win this series. Stefan, who are you taking?
Who am I taking? I'm saying it's going 3. I'm gonna go with the Yankees if they could learn how to hit, and if they show up in game 1 and they get 13, 14 strikeouts in that game, they can't do anything. They're gonna lose the series. But I'll say Yankees find a way because I feel like they usually do find a way in the first round. It's just later on. Later on, it's if they make it past the first round. Later on, the inability to hit great pitching and rely on the home run ball is going to kill them. And it's going to be the same story. They're going to come up in a big moment, fail, probably lose a series, and we'll have the same discussion we've had every single year for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think they need one win. If they can get a win against Shane Bieber, that'll give them a lot of confidence.
Well, if they win against Bieber, Tanaka's been so good in the playoffs.
Not even that. We saw what happened when they went on a 10-game win streak, right? Yes. You couldn't touch them. So if they can get onto that same streak right now, you win the World Series. But
they got to score against Bieber early. That's going to be the biggest thing. Once Bieber gets in the groove, you are done.
A lot easier said than done because this guy is the best pitcher in baseball right now. So moving on to the National League, we have the 1 seed and the World Series favorite LA Dodgers against the 8 seed Milwaukee Brewers. I would like to give the Brewers a chance. Just on paper, it's so lopsided. I'll be like, it would be really cool if they could make it a 3-game set. But this series, it looks like it's over before it starts just because the Dodgers are so dominant, 43-17 this year. They're the first in home runs. They're the first in ERA. They're the best team in baseball right now. And we've seen that the last 3 years. I think the last 3 years, they've been knocked out of the playoffs by the eventual World Series champions, twice in the World Series and once in the NLCS against the Nationals last year, of course. So I think they get back to the World Series. Will they win it this year? It seems like this is their year if they're going to do it with Mookie Betts and what he's doing there as well. So I got the Dodgers winning this in 2 games.
Yeah, I completely agree with that statement. I didn't see enough from Milwaukee. Yelich didn't. I mean, their team just didn't play well. They had a 2.23 batting average, but a 4.16 ERA, and you're going against the best hitting team and the best pitching team. And this is a team that the record you see, 43-17, that's what we all expected the Yankees to be.
Yep.
And they weren't. The Dodgers played. They showed up. Mookie Betts, great. I mean, this team. I mean, Bellinger had a down year though. They had a lot of guys with down years and still found a way. And that's what happens when you have good pitching because you don't need to score 30,000 runs a game to win. You can score 4 or 3, and the bullpen's going to shut the door. The weird thing is that Buehler is getting the game 1 start. Kershaw is getting game 2. And
we actually talked about this earlier on in the show, before we were the BS Sports Show and all that. I had said it's coming to the time where Kershaw is not going to get that 1 start. Buehler has he's overtaken him.
I vaguely remember that.
Yes, so it's happening.
Well, the thing is, though, let's say Dodgers win game 1. Because Kershaw has never shown up in the playoffs, and I'm very interested to see that. Maybe the pressure of not pitching in the game 1 where it's a deciding factor. Plus, if they win game 1, he can. I really feel we'll see a Kershaw-esque performance in game 2 if they win. If they don't win game 1, which if that happens, oh boy, and Kershaw doesn't pick up the game 2 win, a lot of question marks are going to be asked. But I can't see this Brewers team doing much of anything. And on the road, their ERA is 4.17, and obviously the Dodgers are home, so it's going to be a tough one for Milwaukee. But hey, Milwaukee's been in a position like this before last year. I mean, they were very good last year, but they still had to find a way to come through. Yelich was out the whole year, right? He didn't even play in the playoffs.
He was banged up in the postseason, definitely.
And they don't have Gresham anymore, the guy that committed the error that really cost them. He's on San Diego crushing baseballs. But we'll see how it goes. I just don't think.
We've seen stranger things happen in the postseason, right?
So Miami's here, right?
Exactly. So in 2020, anybody could win. But this is as lopsided a postseason matchup as you're going to have just on paper, statistically. And I think that the Dodgers are going to come through.